Batteries fully charged. Launch ready for AEW Spark in 3, 2, 1. All Elite Wrestling discussion is live. Cue host Owen Finch.
Welcome everyone to AEW Spark for the 4th of July, 2022. Happy 4th of July to all that celebrate it. And we have a big week to talk about in AEW. We have a pay-per-view, and we have Blood and Guts, and we had Royal Rampage. A lot went down this week. There was a lot of news that came out from AEW side of things, so let's start by talking about it. And how refreshing is it, by the way, that you've seen like 3 videos from me in the span of a few days? You saw Aftershock Corner AEW View, Crossover, Episode 2, and you saw Money in the Bank review, and you're going to see this. And then you're going to see on Thursday, premiered at 6:30, Retro Wrestling Review Series for AEW Dynamite and Dark, Episode 2, the one that Chris Dodd and I attended. So you're getting the goods, and you're probably going to see Spark next week. You're going to probably see the Retro Wrestling Review Series of SummerSlam. So a lot went down on the channel this week, so I'm happy about that. Let's just start by talking about some AEW stuff. We're going to start with Forbidden Door, because I haven't really talked about that on this show yet. That took place on June 26, 2022, and I gotta say, this is an awesome show. A lot of people are saying this is like one of the best AEW pay-per-views ever, or the best one this year. I may disagree. I think I preferred Double or Nothing a little bit more, but I still like this show a lot. That might be like top 3, maybe top, well, I guess that'd be the worst, because AEW only does 3 pay-per-views. But it was still a hell of a show. Maybe this would be the second one. Maybe Revolution would be a little, maybe Revolution. I don't know. They've all been great. But, yeah, we had a fantastic pay-per-view, like, all the way through. I think a lot of people were worried how the show was going to go, because we've had injury bugs that have taken this person out, that person out, and all that type of stuff. We've had wrestling companies like AAA and things like that telling wrestlers they couldn't be on this show, like Andrade, El Idolo, and the Lucha Brothers, which fuck AAA for that. We've had other things like, the fact that when New Japan Stars showed up on Dynamite, I think no one really reacted to them, so it kind of made people worried about what the reaction was going to be like when they went to a big arena. And I gotta say, the reaction for about every wrestler was epic. Everyone reacted to everybody, which was really cool. And I think that made sense since they were in Chicago. It's a hardcore wrestling fan place, so everyone was going to have those types of big reactions to them, so I was kind of happy with that. And we're just going to start by talking about this show. We had the buy-in, and we had on commentary for both the buy-in and the main show, we had Excalibur, Taz, and the new Kevin Kelly. I thought they all did really well together on commentary. I thought their chemistry was really good. You had Kevin Kelly, who was kind of educated on the New Japan side of things. You had Taz, who was educated on the AEW side of things. And you had Excalibur, who was a little bit of both. You could tell that Kevin Kelly was excited to be working with Taz. He was kind of bouncing a lot off of Taz, which I think was pretty cool. So I like that a lot. And we had 3 buy-in matches. I think we had 4 actually. But we had 3 of them. We had first Bishamon versus the Factory's QT Marshall and Aaron Solo. What a sleeper match this turned out to be. I knew all these guys were great, but I thought this would just be kind of like a typical buy-in match. It'd be good, but not great. And I didn't really think these two styles were going to mesh together. Boy, was I really wrong. I thought these two teams had really good chemistry with each other. And it makes me wonder why they kind of don't do more with the Factory, because they go out there and if they can go out there and have a good match with Bishamon and really hold their own, then they deserve to be doing more with them. it was a really good showcase for Bishamon, really good showcase for QT Marshall, and a really good showcase for Aaron Solo. Bishamon ended up getting the win with their finisher, which was kind of by design. You know, they're a top team in New Japan. You don't want them losing to a dark exclusive tag team. It kind of makes sense for them to get the win. Like I said, you got to put over New Japan a little bit. So, yeah, really good match. They did the double power bomb maneuver. So, really enjoyed that. Then we had Lance Archer versus Nick Camarado. I think Lance Archer was meant to be representing New Japan because he's going to be in the G1 this year. So, that was cool. Pretty good big man match here. I really wasn't sure how this would go. I kind of thought Lance Archer would come out and kind of squash him, and that really didn't happen. Lance Archer held his own, and Nick Camarado got to showcase his power, and Lance Archer ended up getting the win with not the helicoaster, but the end, not the end of days, but it's that finisher that he hits out of the corner. I forget the name of it off the top of my head right now, but yeah, Lance Archer won, which kind of makes sense. They're hyping him up. They're building him up for the G1. He needs to be getting victories here. They're not really doing anything with Nick Camarado right now. Thought it made all the sense in the world. Then they followed that up. They had Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland versus El Desperado and Kanamura. I don't know how to say his first name. I'm not going to attempt to say his first name. What a match this was. Great match right here. I like how they kind of utilize the issues that Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland are kind of having with each other, where you have Swerve Strickland go for a drop kick on Kanamura, but he inadvertently hits Keith Lee in the knee, which kind of allowed Desperado and Kanamura to work over the leg of Keith Lee. It kind of actually made the match a little bit more exciting, kind of made it a little bit more unpredictable. Swerve Strickland got the hot tag, and everyone just kind of went at it with each other. Everyone went all balls to the walls. And eventually you had Keith Lee hit the Big Bang Catastrophe, or whatever they're going to call it in AEW, for the victory. I believe it was on Kanamura. And, it looked like Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland were getting along. I think we need to start doing something with Keith Lee now, though. He's been at AEW for a few months now. They need to stop pushing him. He is a star. I know he doesn't look the best, body-wise. He's put on some weight, but Keith Lee deserves to be pushed. It's after this Eddie Kingston and Chris Jericho feud's over, he should go into a feud with Chris Jericho. I think it would be a really good showcase for Keith Lee, and I think we need to just start doing stuff with Keith Lee. The fact that it seems like Tony Nese, Lance Archer, who else is getting like a better spotlight right now than Keith Lee? I mean, Ricky Starks deserves a better spotlight. But I'm just saying, there's so many guys right now that are getting such a better spotlight than Keith Lee. It's a fucking joke. We need. I'm not discrediting their talents. It's just something's off if Keith Lee can barely get on Dynamite, but you have people like Marina Shafir being showcased on Dynamite every week. Like, there's a disconnect there. I get it's two different divisions, but I'm just saying, if you can find time for Marina Shafir, why can't we find time for Keith Lee? Whether it's a squash, something. It's just ridiculous. Then we had, afterwards, by the way, Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs ended up calling out Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland, so it looks like we're going to get a rematch of that tag match. I did see ideas thrown around that maybe they should do a tag match and have if Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs beat Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland, they have to join Team Taz, and you actually have Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs win, and you actually have them join Team Taz. I think that's a hell of an idea. I think it's great. It doesn't even have to be one of those things where they're forced to be in the group. You can have Taz cut a promo, and he can basically says, if we all come together, we can all win. We can all become successful. Like, you can win the ROH tag titles. I think there's more benefit to having Team Taz grow with Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland than detriment. Because I feel like having them separated maybe isn't really working. I think if you grow Team Taz with Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland, you can get something out of this. They don't even necessarily have to turn heel. You can have Taz turn babyface from it. If Adam Cole and Red Dragon could come back by then, you could have them go after the Super Elite, or you could have them go after the Jericho Appreciation Society. Think about the promos we can get between Taz and Chris Jericho. A lot could happen. Then we had the main event match that took place on the countdown. Not the countdown, but the buy-in. It was the Gun Club and Max Caster versus... I'm going to have to look this one up, actually. I thought I'd be able... It was the LA Dojo people, but I forget who was representing the LA Dojo. AEW Forbidden Door. Probably should have had this queued up, but, you know... If you've seen my videos for a while, you know I don't always have these things planned out. But I thought I was going to be able to get the name. I think it was Alex Coughlin. Of course, now that I fucking need it, it's not fucking popping up. This is a bit awkward. A list of AEW pay-per-view events. Past events. Where is it? Forbidden Door. Here it is. Okay. So it was representing the LA Dojo was Alex Coughlin, the DKC, and Kevin Knight, and Uemura, who isn't representing the DKC. I know it's confusing, the LA Dojo. Danhausen came on the screen, and he called Austin and Colton Gunn ass boys, so it kind of caused them to be pissed, and they went off backstage, where it left Matt Castro and Billy to fend for themselves. They eventually ended up putting away Uemura and the LA Dojo. 2-on-4, I guess. I really didn't like this. I understand this was to set up what happened on Dynamite, but I really didn't care for this. The reason being is because it kind of made New Japan look bad, and you could have easily had New Japan win this match, considering the circumstances. It kind of made the LA Dojo look bad, but this was really the only thing I hated on the show. I really didn't like this at all, though. Then it kicked off. The show happened. We had the first match. It was Minoru Suzuki, Chris Jericho, and Sammy Guevara with Ty Conte ringside versus Eddie Kingston, Willa Yuta, and Shota Umino. This was to decide who was going to get the man advantage in Blood and Guts. Really good. Very good. 6-man tag team match. It was cool to see Eddie Kingston and Minoru Suzuki go at it. I liked that they kind of had Shota Umino get his revenge on Chris Jericho by putting him in the Boston Crab, the same move that Chris Jericho put him in back at Wrestle Kingdom 12. You had some really good exchanges between Willa Yuta and Chris Jericho, Willa Yuta and Sammy Guevara. That's a combination I never knew I wanted to see. Eventually, though, Chris Jericho ended up getting the win. He hit the Judas effect onto Shota Umino, and it allowed the Jericho Appreciation Society to get the man advantage in Blood and Guts. That makes sense. You know, Blood and Guts is typically a heel concept. It makes sense to kind of go with the heels getting the man advantage. It doesn't really make sense for the babyfaces to get the man advantage. I remember TNA always screwed this up when they did Lethal Lockdown, so it makes sense to kind of go in this direction. So I like this. Then you know, later in the night, I'll just talk about it now. Jericho went up to Shota Umino and said that he earned his respect, and then just threw a fireball in his face. I thought that was great. I really enjoyed that. Then we had the 3-way match for winner take all for the ROH and IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Championships. It was FTR versus Jeff Cobb and the Great O'Khan versus Roppongi Vice. This was really good. They did an injury angle with Dax Harwood, which I didn't even know if it was an injury ankle or not when I first saw it, because he didn't get hurt by anything that the other teams did. He got hurt by doing an elbow by himself, and with the injury bug going around around an AEW, you really don't know what's an angle anymore. So that was interesting. So it led to Cash Wheeler having to fend for himself. I kind of like that they did this, though, because I think I talked about it last episode. We need to kind of start seeing FTR in the same vein again, because I feel like they're having Dax Howard do a lot of singles matches, and it's going to kind of take the shine away from Cash Wheeler. So I think this is an FTR idea. They want Cash Wheeler and Dax Howard to be looked at in the same vein, which I would like that myself. So kind of having Cash Wheeler have to try to overcome the odds here, I think kind of helped set that standard. Then it led to, but yeah, Cash Wheeler was out of the match for a while. All these teams had good chemistry with each other. I'm pretty sure Roppongi Vice has probably worked a match at some point with Jeff Cobb and the Great Okan. So they all had good chemistry. The only ones I was kind of worried that was going to be off in this match was going to be the Jeff Cobb and the Great Okan, because Jeff Cobb's good, but the Great Okan's not the best worker. I've seen him have some good matches, but there are times where he goes out there and he kind of stinks up the joint. I don't get the gimmick. But they all went out and they all proved to be formidable foes within each other. So I enjoyed this quite a bit. Dax Howard eventually ran back out, and the FTR was a house of fire, and eventually FTR hit the big rig onto Rocky Romero, and FTR now have 3 championships. They have the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Championships, they have the ROH Tag Team Championships, and the AAA Tag Team Championships. It's kind of disappointing they were only able to really come out with one of the, they couldn't be standing up with all 3 titles at the end of the night, because, I don't think AAA wanted their titles featured on the show. Why AAA? Why are you doing this? But what a match. Just, what a match. Really good. I'm happy for FTR, too. They're, taking over the tag team world right now. It's everything that I've wanted from FTR. And I did read online that they wanted the Young Bucks to do this. They wanted the Young Bucks to be the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Champions, but that changed. The Young Bucks said, no, let's do it with FTR, and I'm glad the Young Bucks did that. It shows that they're very unselfish bookers when it comes to being EVPs and stuff like that. They're willing to put over the next tag team, and I enjoy that about the Young Bucks. You could say it's to their detriment sometimes, but I feel like this case was the right call. Then we had the Fatal 4-Way match to crown the first ever All-Atlantic champion. It was Pac versus Malachi Black versus Miro versus Clark Connors. What a 4-way match this was. This was probably the better 4-way match out of the 2 on the show, but it's not for the reasons that you would think. And yeah, I enjoyed the hell out of this. I thought everybody showcased themselves. I thought Clark Connors had a breakout performance here. I know Clark Connors has been doing some stuff in New Japan. He had a really good performance in that tournament to, when they were crowning the champion and stuff. But this was his breakout performance, I would say, right here. He was in front of a big stadium, probably the biggest stadium he's ever been a part of. And with 3 wrestlers where he was in a match where he wasn't even the favorite to win. And they actually made it look like on several occasions that he could have won. I believe he did an interview earlier in the show where he talked about how he was going to show that you should be talking about Clark Connors. And that was exactly the case. Everybody showcased themselves in this match. We had Miro go through a table. We had Malachi Black split mist into Miro's face. It was just all types of insanity. You had Malachi Black and Pac go after each other in this match. And eventually, you had Miro lock Pac into the accolade or the game over. And Pac somehow was surviving all that time. There was points I thought he was going to pass out or tap out, but it didn't happen. Malachi Black got the black mass onto Clark Connors, and then Pac hit the Black Arrow, and he locked Clark Connors and the Brutalizer. Clark Connors ended up tapping out, and Pac became the first ever All-Atlantic champion. I picked Miro because I thought they were gonna rebuild Miro again. I thought with the feud that Malachi Black and Pac have going on, it would kind of cancel them out to win this match. But seeing this happen and feeling good about it, I was thinking to myself, Pac's had a rough time in AEW, and it's not even AEW's fault. It's not Pac's fault. He had to sit at home a lot through the pandemic. The pandemic's really screwed up his AEW career if you really think about it. Because, Pac had to sit home, and then there's been times where he's been there, and then he's had to be pulled because of the pandemic, where he's been stuck in the UK. Pac deserves this. He needs to get a title. He deserves this for basically not being able to work. And you could actually make Pac versus Malachi Black for the All-Atlantic Championship. I think that's the direction to go. Does it need the belt? Probably not, but we'll see. I think Pac can do some great things. You can have some killer matches for that All-Atlantic Championship. I think you're going to see Pac versus when he recovers. They should probably bring Tomo Ishii in. There's a reason to do that match. You could do Pac versus Miro if Miro wants to do that. I'm assuming he does. You can have Pac come back and face Clark Connors. There's a lot of matches with Pac you could do for that All-Atlantic Championship. So I'm good with this. I'm fine with this. Then we had the Dudes with Attitudes and Shingo Takagi versus Bullet Club, represented by the Young Bucks and El Phantasmo. I couldn't believe how good this match was. Not that I thought it'd be bad, but I just thought it was insane. It was a disappointing. We didn't get that 8-man, but it is what it is. Sting did a dive off one of the tunnels. I believe it was the heel side, and took everybody out. I couldn't believe how good chemistry that the Young Bucks and El Phantasmo had with each other. Like, they were so good together. Like, if they do a trios division, they should easily bring in El Phantasmo to team with the Young Bucks. If Kenny Omega's not going to be there. Because their chemistry was on par. Especially when they were doing the back leg spot. Like, they did that to a T. Shingo Takagi had good chemistry with Sting and Darby Allin. I wish, they could have gotten, other people in there, but I thought they had good chemistry with each other. And, Sting, Darby Allin, and Shingo Takagi won, which made sense, considering, where they were, the fact that Bullet Club stuff's been laying out Sting and Darby Allin and things like that. Shingo Takagi actually got the win in El Phantasmo, which I was cool with. I liked that. There was no need for Sting and Darby to get the win. They were already over. Shingo Takagi's not really well known in the eyes of the American audience, and, it puts over New Japan, so it worked. Get it, understand it, loved it. Then we had the AEW Women's World Championship match. It was Thunder Rosa defending against Toni Storm. Really good stuff. I thought this match was a mismatch because, they couldn't get Starling to be involved of it, which was a shame. But they got the next best in with Toni Storm, who has a history in Stardom and stuff like that. They just went out there and really tore down the house. It wasn't put in a bad spot in the card. They were the one women's match that represented AEW, and I enjoyed the hell out of it. I like that, Thunder she kicked out of the Fire Thunder Dreiser, Toni Storm did. And so Thunder Rosa had to pull out the Final Reckoning, which, was done by a mentor, Dustin Rhodes. Very good stuff. This was really good. No complaints. Then we had the best match, I thought, of the entire show. It was Will Ospreay defending the IWGP Heavyweight United States Championship against Orange Cassidy. Earlier in the show, we had Jay White and Juice Robinson do interviews talking about how Bullet Club's going to take over and how Juice Robinson was going to be watching that title match, because he says all that match is it going to be a number one contenders match to face him for the IWGP United States Heavyweight Championship. I think I talked about this. I gave some flack to New Japan about how they got too stubborn with that storyline. They should have had Will Ospreay be showing up with that IWGP Heavyweight Championship or Dynamite lead it into the show. But it is what it is. Yeah, this was a hell of a match. My favorite match of the entire night. Which I didn't expect it to be. I expected this match to really steal the show, but I didn't expect it to be the match of the night. I was expecting it to be that IWGP Heavyweight Championship 4-way match of Moxley versus Tanahashi, but this was awesome. There was some kickouts in this match that were awesome. The facial expressions they were making were fantastic. And these two just had great chemistry with each other. I know we were supposed to get Andrade Al Idolo, but I'm kind of glad we didn't. This is the match I wanted. I know a lot of people are going to hate me for that, but I wanted this match. Will Ospreay ended up getting the win, which I didn't have any complaints about. I kind of wish we could have had like something happen where like AEW won one of the New Japan's titles and New Japan won one of AEW's championships, but I get why they didn't do that, I guess. I thought that would have been a cool little storyline that happened, especially too if we were going to get Orange Cassidy versus Juice Robinson. That would have been a cool match. But Will Ospreay, I was absolutely fine with retaining his IWGP Heavyweight United States Championship afterwards. Aussie Open and Will Ospreay, United Empire all started beating down Orange Cassidy, and then it led to chaos. Roppongi Vice running out and making the save. And it looked like they were going to get outnumbered again. And then we had Shibata debut out of nowhere. I didn't expect to see this, and he just went at Will Ospreay. He hit this wicked German suplex, tossed him halfway across the ring. It was insane. And it looks like Shibata is going to be going after that IWGP United States Heavyweight Championship. Maybe he'll face the winner of Juice Robinson and Will Ospreay whenever they do that match. When they do that match, I'll try to see if I can sit down and watch that. But what a match! What a match this was. And then we had Zack Sabre Jr. facing the mystery opponent. And the mystery opponent ended up being Claudio Castagnoli, which I was really happy about. I'm so happy to see Claudio Castagnoli in AEW. He's finally free of WWE's misusage of him. I listed all that stuff off on the rundown. You can just check that out. I really enjoyed this. It was a really good technical match. I said when I on the rundown AEW crossover the first time, I wanted to see this from New Japan instead of seeing. I don't mind the Spot Fest, but I wanted to see New Japan go for that technical aspect, and we got that here. I thought Claudio Castagnoli was going to completely squash Zack Sabre Jr. because he right away hit the uppercut and the neutralizer, but he ended up kicking out of it. Zack Sabre Jr. worked over the arm and the leg of Claudio Castagnoli throughout much of this matchup, and eventually was not to believe. Claudio Castagnoli ended up hitting a powerbomb, a vicious powerbomb with the legs hooked for the win. And it actually made a lot of sense. You know, obviously it's his first match in AEW. You don't want him to lose. Now he's part of Blackpool Combat Club. That makes sense. I talked about before because Claudio Castagnoli is the one that ended up in kayfabe, retiring William Regal in NXT Black and Gold. Made sense. Everything worked. Loved it. Then we had the two matches, I would say, that kind of brings the show down maybe for me as to not one of the best pay-per-views of the year. It was this IWGP World Heavyweight Championship Fatal 4-Way match. It was Adam Cole defending... it was Jay White defending the title against Adam Cole, Heyman Adam Page, and Kazuchika Okada. The match was good. I might even say really good. Everything was working, and then the match kind of falls apart towards the end. So, which isn't AEW's fault, and it isn't... it's not the wrestler's fault. It's just injuries suck. There's a point in the match where Okada goes for the Acid Rainmaker, just the Rainmaker, whatever, and Adam Cole ducks it, but then immediately goes down, and then Okada went down. So Jay White had to call an audible and end the match. And we should praise AEW for that because they've been known to continue matches longer than they should have been. When the wrestler's been hurt, let's not relive All Out 2020 when Matt Hardy was hurt, that 4-way match where John Silver was hurt and he was like knocked out. You can make the argument, even though they ended it right away with the Eddie Kingston Lance Archer match, in the tournament. They could have ended that in a different way. There's been times when AEW has continued matches when the wrestlers have been hurt. It's happy they've learned from it. Should have learned about it a few years ago, but they've learned from it. So yeah, Jay White retained, and it was just really sad. Adam Cole probably shouldn't have been out there. He was working hurt, but he wasn't working hurt as much as Cody was working hurt. I want to sell before that. But maybe Adam Cole shouldn't have been out there. You had Okada, who probably didn't need to be out there. You could just tell this match ended abruptly because we didn't see the buckshot lariat, we didn't see the Panama Sunrise, we didn't see the Blade Runner, and we didn't see the Rainmaker. We didn't see any of that, so sad. This match ended sadly. Adam Cole, I hear, really needs surgery. He needs shoulder surgery. And if he gets it, though, he's going to be out for a while. I'm going to say this. I think he should get it. I think he should go home, rest. This Adam Cole has been throwing his body on the line for years for this business. He deserves a break. It's not like he's going to be hurting for money. He's got he's got Britt Baker, and as long as everything goes out fine, he's got 2 ways to get an income. I'm sure he's got enough money saved up where he will be fine. I'm sure AEW would take care of him anyways, and it's not like it's not like he's not going to come back and get a big push. He'll be fine. I think Adam Cole should go rest up. And, if you want to, and he could still be there without really, he could still be brought up without really having to be there, because Red Dragon, when they come back from their injuries, will be fine. You can easily do Red Dragon versus the Young Bucks. I'm cool with it. So yeah, I think that's exactly what should happen. And then we had the main event. It was Jon Moxley versus Hiroshi Tanahashi for the interim AEW World Championship. Really enjoyed this. The thing that kind of made me not, the thing that I think this isn't match of the night is because it was kind of predictable that Jon Moxley was going to win because you knew that Tanahashi wasn't going to get the belt. The only reason I thought they might have put the power on Tanahashi is because maybe they wanted to do him versus Punk, since that was a match that was booked for this show anyways, and that's probably what people bought the show for. But no need to do that. I liked how they had Jon Moxley kind of have to force Hiroshi Tanahashi to wrestle his style, which is a style that Tanahashi doesn't really like to wrestle. This was good stuff. Moxley got busted open this match. Eventually, though, he ended up winning with the, not the Deadeye, but the elevated paradigm shift. I forget the name of it right now. The Dead Driver or something like that. It's not that. It's definitely not it. And Moxley became the new AEW interim AEW World Champion, whatever's. I do question if this was a match that people were probably waiting for 3 years, because we've heard about people waiting for this match for 3 years. Was this the match? Did this match live up to the hype for a 3-year build? Did kind of question that a little bit. But now Jon Moxley has beaten every person in New Japan. He's beaten Ospreay. He's beaten Suzuki. He's beaten Juice Robinson, I believe. He's beaten Lance Archer. There's only one guy left, and that's Kazuchika Okada. If they can make it happen, Wrestle Kingdom next year, Moxley, Okada. Maybe for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship, if you can get the belt back on Okada. Sounds pretty good to me. And then afterwards, we had a big brawl with to hype up Blood and Guts between the Jericho Appreciation Society and Moxley, Willa Yuta, and Eddie Kingston, and I think Proud and Powerful ended up being there. A lot of people, I did see crap on this because it was AEW using a pay-per-view to bid up TV, but I didn't have an issue with it, really. It was Blood and Guts. It's not like it's in any TV show. It's fucking Blood and Guts, So I had no issue with it, really. It was fine, It's not when WWE, WCW, and ECW was doing that, and even TNA. They were throwing their pay-per-views under the bus for televised events. So, you know, it's not like AEW threw the show under the bus. The show got the proper attention it deserved. So, this is fine. And then, we have some news sites, though, here, and that, like, Tetsuya Naito wasn't happy that he wasn't invited to the show, which I actually think is fair. He probably could have been featured on this show somehow, some way. I believe he's teaming up with Shingo Takagi. They could have sent him over there to be in that Dudes with Attitudes match. He would have fitted perfectly with Sin and Darby Allin. I don't know why they couldn't find a way to get Tetsuya Naito on the show, and somehow he's been a big player for New Japan Pro Wrestling. That was kind of ridiculous. I did hear that Tony Khan was under a lot of stress from this show. He was hugging a lot of the wrestlers backstage, and you could just tell he looked like he was under stress because New Japan's booking kind of hasn't been the best. So I think, Tony Khan had to kind of staple together the booking a little bit himself because they made stupid booking decisions, like putting the fucking IW cheapy heavyweight tag team titles on Chase Owens and Bad Luck Fale. Like, why the fuck did they do that? Like, AEW kind of had to save New Japan a little bit. Like, putting the belt on Jay White, if you think about it, it's kind of New Japan's fault that we lost two stars from each promotion. We lost Adam Cole and Kazuchika Okada because they decided to mix things up, put the belt on Jay White, and instead of the AEW had to do the 4-way match. Instead, we could have gotten 2 one-on-one matches, and none of them would have gotten hurt. We could have gotten Page versus Okada and Jay White versus Adam Cole, or Adam Cole versus Okada and Jay White winner faces the champ, and then Jay White versus Adam Page. I don't know why they overcomplicated this, but we still got a fantastic show nonetheless. I'm just saying New Japan kind of had to make Tony Khan work a little bit. But that was that. I heard too that Forbidden Door got I believe it was 5 million buys, which is a really good number. They did really good at ticket sales. They sold out the venue. So there is a chance they could do this again. But I hope when they do this again, it's not as much of a headache as it was. Because both sides, it was good, but it wasn't without stress. Stress on Tony Khan's side and, maybe stress on New Japan's side because their talent wasn't getting the best reactions when they went over to America. So there is things that maybe you could do better with this Forbidden Door concept. I do think that it shouldn't just be limited to AEW and New Japan. You could get other companies involved with it, like Impact. I think Impact would totally work with with this show. I don't know why they didn't this time. Because we easily could have, because had Impact been involved, we easily could have gotten the Good Brothers on this show, and they could have been a part of that heavyweight tag team championship match. So we'll see though. But yeah, that's basically my thoughts on Forbidden Door right there. Let's talk about this week's stuff in AEW now. If I miss something on Forbidden Door, I'm sure you guys will let me know. We had Elevation, episode 69. Really nothing happened on this show. Usually the episodes of Dokes, except maybe Doke this week, nothing after pay-per-views that really not much is going on because it's after a pay-per-view. They've already taped these matches, so it's kind of like So it's kind of like thrown together stuff. Anna Jay, Squash, Heather Reckless. Really nothing to talk about there. We had Powerhouse Hobb and Ricky Starks, Squash, Jordan Cross, and Joey Jett. Really nothing to talk about there. We had Ruby Soho, Squash, Missa Kate. Really nothing to talk about there either. We had Swerve and Our Glory, Squash, Vic, Capri, and GPA. Really nothing to talk about there. You did see Swerve and Our Glory work together a little bit more, but other than that, really nothing to talk about. Ethan Page beat Serpentico. That was a decent little match, but again, really nothing to talk about. John Silver, Squash, KM. Nothing to talk about there. Brody King and Buddy Matthews, Squash, CJ Esperanza and Brew Breaker. Really nothing to talk about. Brew Breaker. I don't know how to say that, but it was cool to see Buddy Matthews and Brody King team up. I would like to see them at some point win the AEW Tag Team titles, but again, nothing to talk about. Then we had the Gun Club, and I believe it's supposed to be Max Caster 2 versus Evil Uno, Alex Reynolds, and 10. This was good stuff. I believe the Gun Club won. Sounds about right, but nothing memorable. It was a just decent main event. So, really nothing to talk about in Elevation this week. I don't even remember who won the main event. I believe it was the Gun Club and Max Caster. Then we had AEW Dark, episode 150. This was really hyped up throughout the show by Excalibur and Kaz. This was good. You know, they filmed it in Universal Studios. I don't know exactly when they filmed this because, like, if it was filmed Monday, it was definitely not filmed with the commentators there. It was definitely filmed, the commentators were definitely on Zoom or something, filming it over the show. So that was interesting. But you had some good stuff, some gems on this show. Willow Nightingale faced Ashley Dumbroise in a decent little match. I imagine they're going to try to have Willow Nightingale somehow on the pay-per-view, which I'll talk about in a bit. Willow Nightingale ended up winning, though. That makes sense. She's more of a well-known name. Nick Camarado and Alan Solo beat Matt Vandergraaf and Null. This was an interesting match because it was a heavyweight and like a light heavyweight, both teaming up on both teams. So I thought that made the match a little bit interesting. But Nick Camarado and Alan Solo won. Matt Sydal beat Jake Something. This was good. Matt Sydal beat him with a roll-up. Jake Something got some offense in. I hope they sign Jake Something. I'm going to get if he's available. Althena beat Amber Nova. Really nothing to talk about there. Dante Martin beat Lucky Ali. That was pretty good. Lucky Ali got to showcase himself a little bit. We had Julia Hart completely squash Valentina Rosa. This was Julia Hart's first match in Jordan House of Black, and she showcased herself pretty well. You got to kind of see a different side of her and stuff. I still don't get why they're not having Varsity Blondes confront her about Jordan House of Black, because they were together for that long, but whatever. Fuego del Sol defeated Marcus Cross, and then afterwards, QT Marshall and the Factory minus Anthony Ogogo came out and offered him a spot in the Factory, but Fuego del Sol refused, so that's probably going to build to a match between QT Marshall and Fuego del Sol at some point. We had JD Drake and Ryan Nemeth versus Evil Uno and 10. Good stuff here. Evil Uno and 10 won when 10 made I believe it was Ryan Nemeth tap out to the Fo Nelson, and afterwards the Windman started beating down Evil Uno and 10 until the rest of the Dark Order ran out. So we're probably going to get an 8-man tag, maybe on Elevation or Dark next week. Well, this week. Then we had Arya Daivari versus Caleb Conley. I don't know what happened here. I thought Arya Daivari was hired as a producer, but he was on Dark this week, so I don't know what the hell went on. I've been trying to follow into that, but I don't know what happened. Caleb Conley, I think, recently left Impact. He was last seen, to my knowledge, being put through a table by W. Morrissey. I like to see him get signed. He looked really good in this match. Arya Daivari ended up getting the win, but I thought they had good chemistry with each other. Then we had the ROH Pure Championship match. It was Willa Yuta defending the title against Tony Nese. Earlier in the show, Willa Yuta did an interview talking about how he may be going into, he may be the underdog here since he's got to go into Blood and Guts after this match. So people think he may be overlooking him, but he said that he's going to show that he can follow the Pure rules while at the same time going into tomorrow night of Blood and Guts. Good stuff here. I really enjoyed this. I enjoyed how Tony Nese had Willa Yuta strategize to a T. He did the closed fist punch behind the referee's back. He had Willa Yuta use all of his rope breaks. I liked how they did. They had the Spark Mark Solon pull Willa Yuta, and he trapped him in the ropes. So behind the referee's back, so he didn't end up seeing that. I enjoyed that. So yeah, I enjoyed this match. Willa Yuta ended up making Tony Nese tap out to like a version of the STF, which I thought was cool. I thought it kind of showed he could win out of nowhere. We had the judges, by the way, that were Christopher Daniels, somebody else, and Mercedes Martinez. It was someone that's been like known for. They were all well-known names of ROH. So good stuff. Good ROH World Pure Championship match there. So good episode of Dark. I enjoyed that. Good episode 150. It was an hour and a half this week, probably because it was episode 150. So then we had Blood and Guts. They changed up the commentary team. It's Excalibur, Taz, and Shivani that's going to be the commentary team. To be honest, I really wouldn't complain if that's the commentary team going forward. I think they have really good chemistry. I think JR sometimes gets a little lost, and when he's grumpy, you could just tell he doesn't care. I still think you can have JR as part of the show somehow, maybe doing sit-down interviews. I wouldn't complain if they brought him out on commentary every once in a while. I just think JR is kind of past his prime a little bit, but that's just me. We had the opener. It was Orange Cassidy versus Ethan Page, and Orange Cassidy got his new theme song here. It had been teased on Twitter, so I thought he was going to get it at the pay-per-view, but he ended up getting it here instead. It's fine. I think it's just going to take a while for me to get used to it because I've been so used to him to coming out to his old theme that, it takes a while for him to get used to it. That's why, I think originally when I heard Jeff Hardy's No More Words, it took me a bit to get used to that over the old Hardy Boy theme song when he switched that song in 2008. Dan Lambert basically had the referee eject Best Friends because they didn't have a manager's license. So Orange Cassidy had to go into the match by himself. And then eventually Orange Cassidy ended up winning the match. Kind of a overbooked finish, but a good finish nonetheless. And it was good stuff. Nothing really else happened. Christian Cage came out to do a promo. He just kind of did some more heel heat onto Jungle Boy, talking about his family, talking about how he's more of a success than them. It was good stuff. I think a lot of people don't really like that they're talking about this stuff because of it's referring death to anything like that, but I really don't have an issue with it. If Jungle Boy's father's cool with it, then I'm cool with it. And then he mentioned the fact that he requested a match, but it wasn't for him. It was with Luchasaurus, and Luchasaurus came out. He had new theme music. He had all black ring attire, and it's showcasing that now he's a heel. And Luchasaurus completely squashed Serpentico. It was kind of funny because Serpentico was too afraid to get in the ring with him. Laid him out with a choke slam and a pile driver, and afterwards he ended up doing it onto the floor. So I'm interested in this. I do question if it makes sense to turn Luchasaurus heel because he's kind of over with the fans, but this works because it gives Christian Cage a heavy, and Luchasaurus is somebody that has been close with Jungle Boy. It would kind of be cool to see when Jungle Boy comes back how he reacts to this, and it's good stuff. You can kind of extend that Christian Cage feud for a while. Maybe they can do something where Jungle Boy has to break Luchasaurus out of this brainwash by Christian Cage. So I liked this. And then I do question though if they should have just brought in somebody else. They had W. Morrissey just recently left Impact. I think they easily could have gotten him because he was just on Dynamite not that long ago. And that actually would have worked maybe a little bit better, but the thing is I don't think W. Morrissey really needs a manager. He's just fine by himself on the mic. I think he'll do just fine by himself. Because that's the thing. They just turned Wardlow babyface. They have Keith Lee, who's clearly a babyface. They don't really have another big heel they could have really done this with. And I think Luchasaurus makes the most sense because he's the one that's closely associated with Jungle Boy, like I said. So interesting. Then we had a Wardlow Scorpio Sky interview where they talked about how eventually Wardlow's going to get that TNT championship. Scorpio Sky talked about the last time he left him laying. So the challenge was made. Next week it's going to be a street fight for the TNT title. I'm excited to see that. Then we had Max Castle and the Acclaim versus Dan Housen and a mystery partner. Max Castle and the Gun Club. For some reason I have the Acclaimed. And then the mystery partners ended up being FTO. Good stuff here. They got the heat on Danhausen for a while, and then eventually FTR got the hot tag, and Danhausen got tagged back in, and Matt Caster, we found out, really wasn't injured. I mean, I'm assuming he was at one point, but here he wasn't. And he ended up hitting Danhausen with a clutch, and then he went to hit Danhausen with a clutch, but he ducked and hit Austin Gunn by accident, and allowed FTR and Danhausen to get the win. And afterwards, it looks like there's some trouble brewing between the Acclaimed and the Gun Club, which is kind of interesting because Billy sided with the Acclaimed versus the Gun Club, so I'm kind of interested to see what they do with that. I like to see the Acclaimed go babyface too. They're so over as babyfaces. Like, they're so over right now. I think they really work as babyfaces. They wouldn't even have to change the act up all that much. You probably would have to pander the crowd a little bit, but not much. So it'd be interesting. The only thing is they couldn't talk about like heel heat, but I'm assuming they could work around that. Then Jay Lethal was backstage. He challenged Samoa Joe for the ROH Television Championship at Death Before Dishonor, which is now officially a pay-per-view that's going to take place, I believe it's like January 19th, 20th-ish. I imagine that match is going to get made official. I did see rumors that Miro wants that championship, so I could see something where maybe they do that match on TV, and maybe we'll get Samoa Joe versus Miro. No offense to Jay Lethal, I think Samoa Joe versus Miro is a more marketable match. And, I understand the ROH fan base would like Jay Lethal probably to be in that match, but let's be real, it's Samoa Joe versus Miro that is the match that we want to see. But I'm excited to see ROH come back as a pay-per-view. I'm going to try to attend that show because it's in Mass, so that would be exciting. The matches, I think, what happened on that show, I think Jonathan Gresham is going to defend the world title against Brian Cage. I think we're going to have Mercedes Martinez versus Serena Deeb for the women's title. I think the match I really want to see is FTR defend the ROH tag titles against the Young Bucks, putting up their AEW tag team championships, and having FTR win 4 championships at once. That'd be cool. I don't know what other matches could take place. I don't know if the Briscoes are going to have a part in the show because it's ROH. It'd be kind of weird if the Briscoes weren't there. I know they're doing things in Impact right now, but I like to see the Briscoes show up on this show. I would like to see Colt Cabana make his way on this show because we haven't seen Colt Cabana, I think, since Best in the World. Bandito, I'd like to see on this show. I don't know if he's going to be on this show because I think the only reason he was at the last one was because they had already booked that match in advance before Tony Khan bought it. So I'd like to see Ortiz maybe be booked on the show, maybe face Willa Yuta for the Pure Championship. That'd be cool. I don't know what they're going to do with the 6-man tag titles, if they're just going to get rid of them in ROH, because Vincent and like his other guys were the tag champions. They won the titles, but they didn't come back, but they didn't bring those titles back. So like I said, it's a process. I'm excited about ROH. I know a lot of people want that to be talked about more. I don't know how much more they could talk about it. They have FTR defend the ROH tag titles most weeks. They have been promoting the ROH world title recently. I'll admit they could talk about it a little bit more, but I'm fine with how it's being done right now. Them Jade Cargill squashed Layla Hurst to retain her TBS Women's Championship. Afterwards, she said that she's that bitch and is continually going to dominate the talent and wants better competition. Althena and Chris Statlander ran out and fought off Jade Cargill and Kara Hogan, but then Layla Gray attacked them, so it looks like she might be a baddie, but we really don't know. She was shoved afterwards by Jade Cargill. Then the Young Bucks were backstage and they challenged Bishop Munn to a tag match. This was actually a funny bit because they talked about how they were all by themselves and they didn't even have Brandon. They had somebody else there that was like their cameraman, which was funny. So I enjoyed that. Then we had Jericho Appreciation Society versus Blackpool Combat Club and Blood and Guts. I'm not going to talk about this match too much because I kind of talked about it on the rundown. I enjoyed this match a lot. It's probably one of my favorite matches of the year. Probably one of my favorite matches on TV that's happened. The only other one that really probably tops it is CM Punk versus MJF. from earlier this year. Maybe Adam Page versus Bryan Danielson. I'm trying to think of other matches that's happened. Maybe Riddle versus Roman Reigns. That was a really good TV match. The Young Bucks versus the Lucha Bros. There's a lot of matches that's happened on TV pretty much that I've really liked. So this might be my favorite one, though. I think this is my favorite. It had everything you would ever want in it. It's reported that Santana got injured in this match, and this might be his last match in AEW. There's rumors that he wants to leave because Proud and Powerful haven't been getting along as of late, which is a shame because they've been a great tag team as of late, and I really would hate to see Santana go. Some of it, I wonder if it's just dirt sheet drama, but I'm not sure. Because one of the things they say is that Santana hasn't been doing bookings with Ortiz. They've been doing it. He's been doing it by himself, like going to Terminus and things like that. So if that's the case, that's probably been going on since February then, because that's when he started doing bookings. Sorry, but that's my Discord, by the way. But yeah, this was an insane match. Everyone that the entrances order made sense. Everybody that was in the match made sense. I really enjoyed it. They really stepped it up from last year. I think a lot of people only think Blood and Guts was really bad because of the Jericho spot from last year, but no, Blood and Guts was bad, but even before then. If you think about it, the Pinnacle is basically no longer around anymore, and you could look at that Blood and Guts match as an example of that. Like AEW really stepped things up. It also probably helped that it was in front of a crowd this time versus the last time. I don't think it was in front of a crowd. It was live. This was much better than last year's Blood and Guts match. Sammy Guevara really worked hard out there. We could say what we want to say about Sammy Guevara. I personally understand the hate. Here's what I have to say about the Sammy Guevara thing. I think I talked about it. If we had the social media that we had now, and we would have all hated Edge and Lita. Let's be real. We would have all hated Edge and Lita. We would have had every right to hate Edge and Lita. I'm just saying, Edge, if you think about it, everybody hated Edge for the right reasons. This is basically the same thing. I'll admit, I do think he's a little bit of a douchebag, but now that he's back in the Jericho Appreciation Society, he's getting the right amount of heat. Originally, he was getting go-away heat, but they fixed that now. I love the finish. Where Eddie Kingston got Jericho in his submission, and Claudio put Matt Menard in the sharpshooter, and Matt Menard tapped out, but Jericho didn't, and Eddie Kingston didn't get to humiliate Chris Jericho. You've really set up several feuds in this match. You've set up a rematch between Eddie Kingston and Chris Jericho because you knew that was gonna get rematch at some point. But you were going to wonder, how is it going to get rematched? Well, now Eddie Kingston's going to feel like he's not satisfied. You set up Eddie Kingston and Claudio Castagnoli in the future because Claudio took away Eddie Kingston's chance to get redemption on Chris Jericho, and they don't like each other anyways. You set up a lot of things throughout this show. So, hell of a match. It took up most of Dynamite. I enjoyed the hell out of it. Then we had Rampage. I'm not going to talk too much about Rampage because I did live reactions of it on James's channel. So you can just check out that video if it's still up. I don't know if it is because it could have gotten copyrighted. It was announced we were going to get Royal Rampage. And we didn't really know what that was. And I'm glad we found out what it was because Rampage and Dynamite were filmed on the same day. So, you found out. We didn't know what Royal Rampage was going to be. Well, we found out what it was. It was basically War Games, but with 2 wins. Not War Games, sorry. World War III, but with 2 wins. I liked it. You were able to keep up with the action for the most part. Everyone that was in the match made sense, and it didn't feel overly contrived or anything like that. I like how we had a tease of the Heyman Page turn when he went to eliminate John Silver, but they were just kidding around and stuff like that. You had Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland in separate wins, and they kind of looked at each other like, hey, it could come down to us. But Keith Lee had to face Team Taz by himself, which was kind of cool. I don't know why he had to, if you think about it, because Swerve Strickland could have just jumped. But the Butch and the Blade looked really good in this match. You had Ethan Page look good. Orange Cassidy looked really good. You had Darby Allin look good. It came down to Darby Allin and Brody King. And Brody King choked out Darby Allin, just dropped him to the floor, which is really cool. I've never seen that happen in a Battle Royal. So I like that we got something new out of it. And Brody King now is going to face Jon Moxley this Wednesday for the interim AEW World Championship. That's going to be a hell of a match. I can't wait to see it. Then we had Hook get interviewed. Like I said, I was listening to the live reactions. He basically threatened Alex Marvez, so that was cool. I like that we're seeing slow progression in Hook's character. Kind of sucks they've already given up on Hookhausen. I thought they had more. They could have gotten more out of that tag team, but whatever. And then we had Bishamon versus the Young Bucks. What a match this was. Both teams really went at it. We saw the Young Bucks finally do something new where they did the Meltzer driver and they did a double springboard from one win to the next. And yeah, it was awesome. The Young Bucks beat Bishamon. Makes sense. There's no reason to put Bishamon over. The Young Bucks kind of need a win. Then I think this is probably when the fans started leaving because it was reported on Rampage. Well, it was reported over the week that fans left during Rampage because really nothing was able to follow these two matches. They probably should have put the Young Bucks Bishamon match at the end of the show. I understand starting it off with Royal Rampage, but they probably should have put Young Bucks and Bishamon at the end of the show. Then we had Jonathan Gresham do a promo. He accepted Tully Blanchard's challenge, and it's going to be Jonathan Gresham and Lee Moriarty versus two members of Tully Enterprises, which is going to be that big tag team that's not Brian Cage. I'm not saying that, I just don't know their names. Then we had Toni Storm versus Nyla Rose. This was a good match, but like I said, I was kind of burnt out from the Royal Rampage and, it was Royal Rampage and the tag match, so it was tough for this match to live up to it. It was still pretty good. Toni Storm won with Storm Zero. Afterwards, Marina Shafir attacked her. It led to a 2-on-1 match. Actually, she didn't win with Storm Zero. She won with a DDT, actually. She had to improvise. And then Thunder Rosa came out. Looks like Thunderstruck's going to be a tag team now, and it's going to lead to a tag team match on this Wednesday. And that was AEW Rampage. Hell of a week for AEW. I thought Rampage fucking ruled. It's probably the best Rampages I've ever seen. I think the only one that probably tops is the one that CM Punk made his debut, and maybe when Kenny Omega fought Christian Cage for the Impact World Title. Maybe the one too where Eddie Kingston and CM Punk went at it on the mic. I'm gonna give AEW for the week probably an S. And I thought it broke the scale. You had a fantastic pay-per-view, fantastic blood and guts, fantastic fantastic Rampage, and you even had a good AEW Dark episode this week. I thought Elevation was okay, but I feel like it's nothing that's going to win the grade down. Like, what a week for AEW. I thought it was awesome. Now, let's preview next week's. I think I've broken down all the news sites for the week. To kind of continue talking about, AEW too, I think like this is worth mentioning. On WWE this week, I want to mention it. We had some AEW appearances. Basically, WWE asked Tony Khan if they could use some footage for John Cena's 20 years. And yeah, we saw some people from AEW show up. We saw the Big Show / Paul White show up on WWE. We saw Bryan Danielson / Daniel Bryan show up on Raw in a video. We saw Chris Jericho / Chris Jericho show up with and did something. So that was awesome. Like, I enjoyed the hell out of that. I think it did get people talking, thinking that AEW and WWE are possibly going to work together, which I'd love to see. If they do a Forbidden Door for that fucking show, that would fucking rule. You could get a lot of great matches out of it, but I'm not going to think anything of it. I think this was just a one week thing. I think if we're going to see AEW and WWE work together, I think it's just going to be stuff like this. because WWE wouldn't even send AJ Styles over to Impact to. There's a decent chance of it, I guess, with Stephanie McMahon being the chairman, but Vince is still part of creative, so it's probably not going to happen. Probably not going to happen. So that sucks. Let's preview next week's AEW stuff. I'm going to check to see if there's any matches on Elevation tonight, since this is being recorded on 4th of July. Since they usually have stuff. Okay, so this is what I know as of right now. Usually they do 2 posts on Instagram, but they haven't released the second one yet. So let me check maybe Safari real quick. Yeah, I don't know. So we're gonna have tonight on Elevation. We're gonna have Heather Reckless and Laney Luck versus Hikaru Shida and Yuka Sakazaki. Yeah, I think it's pretty obvious Shida and Yuka are gonna win that. We're gonna have Anna Jay versus Megan Myers. I think it's obvious Anna Jay is gonna win that match. And we're gonna have Pat Monix versus Anthony Ogogo. I think it's obvious Anthony Ogogo is gonna win that match. There's nothing else really announced as of right now. So on Dynamite for this week, I don't exactly know the matches, but we're gonna get Moxley defending the interim AEW World Championship against Brody King. I think that's gonna be a hell of a match. I expect Moxley to retain the title. I think if CM Punk's coming back, he's going to face Moxley. Moxley just became the new interim AEW World Champion. It doesn't make sense to take the title off him. Moxley's had a crazy week in wrestling. He fucking wrestled in Blood and Guts. Actually, before that, he wrestled that tag match where he teamed with Hiroshi Tanahashi to face Lance Archer and Chris Jericho. Then he faced Hiroshi Tanahashi. Then Blood and Guts. Then this match. He's going to have he needs a fucking rest after this week. We're going to have Wardlow face Scorpio Sky for the TNT title. I would love to see Wardlow win the TNT title. The TNT title desperately needs a rebuild. It's been kind of shit on as of lately. We've had champions change hands. We've had the belt get smashed and reference the fact that Ty and Sammy have been having intercourse with the title. It's just... Well, I'm saying the intercourse while he's holding the title, I should say. It just needs a rebrand. Not a rebrand necessarily, but it needs to get on someone and get some prestige back to that championship. What else is that? We have Thunderstruck versus Marina Shafir and Nyla Rose. I think Thunderstruck's going to win that. I don't know if they're going to continue a match between Thunder Rosa and Toni Storm. It'd be kind of cool to see Toni Storm go heel because we've seen Toni Storm as a heel in NXT Black and Gold before. That'd be kind of cool. And I think that's everything on Dynamite. I can't really think of anything else that's going to be on Dynamite. I don't know if CM Punk's going to return this week. I expect him to be back soon. Because All Out September 4th. I expect before September 4th we're going to see... I'm thinking maybe Battle of the Belts 3. We're going to get CM Punk versus Jon Moxley for the interim AEW World title. That's probably the best place to do that match. Then for Rampage, we're going to have Jonathan Gresham and Lee Moriarty take on the big tag team that's with Tully Blanchard. I think Tully Blanchard Enterprises are going to win that. I think Lee Moriarty can easily take the loss, and it wouldn't hurt Jonathan Gresham too much. And I think we're going to get Brian Cage versus Jonathan Gresham for the ROH World title, which I think would rule. Would they put the belt on Brian Cage? That's TBD. Because I don't know if Brian Cage is showing up on Dynamite. I mean, he was technically on Dynamite recently, but I don't know if they're gonna put the belt on Brian Cage. It'd be kind of cool, but we'll have to wait and see. And that's everything that on the AEW predictions wise. I don't know what else is gonna be on Rampage. So. Yeah, on Doc, I expect the Doc Order to face the Windmen either on Dark or Elevation. If that match happens, I predict Dark Order will win that. But other than that, I can't think of anything else that will be on AEW. And that's Spark. I think I've covered everything news-wise. I think that's everything. I can't believe I did this in only an hour. I've had longer videos with AEW, but I've already talked about a lot of this stuff on the rundown, and I did live reactions to Rampage, so... And I also want to make sure this video gets out, because I know it's going to take a while to edit and stuff like that, so... That's pretty much it, guys. Thank you guys for watching this video. Please make sure to like, comment, and share this video if you like it. Like I said, this is still Spark. If there's stuff you want to see, let me know. And I know I plugged this already, but make sure to check out Thursday, 6:30, Retro Wrestling Review Series for AEW Dynamite and AEW Dark Episode 2 that Chris Dodd and I did. Will be coming out. It'll be premiering at 6:30, so make sure you check that out. And that's pretty much it, guys. Talk to you later.
Podcast has concluded. Be sure to check out more group discussion as far as AEW content is concerned, and check out more content from For the Win Productions.